Hey there, Central Ohio. I'm 10 Weather Impact meteorologist Michael Behrens. Thanks for joining us on today's edition of the 10 Weather Impact Show, the end of a week of what has just been bitterly cold temperatures across Central Ohio. And fortunately, we're not done yet with the bitter cold. We've got some more frigid air on the way as we head into Saturday morning. In fact, this could be some of the coldest air we've seen all week, especially in Columbus, with many areas likely to be well below zero once again by tomorrow morning, and wind chills that could again drop into the -20, if not even a little colder range. So with that in mind, our 10 TV Weather Impact Alert days will continue. I want to keep an eye on temperatures from today as well. Speaking of just how cold things were, these were the low temperatures this morning, dropping all the way down to -4 here in Columbus, -19 in Lancaster, -13 in Newark, and -12 in Marysville. Very cold air settled into Central Ohio last night, and like we said, it's not the last time it's going to do so. We've got at least one more morning of extremely cold air out there, heading toward tomorrow. A pretty cold morning where I think some of us will still get to near to below zero Sunday morning. And then as we get into next week, we can finally start to usher in some more seasonable temperatures. I'm not going to call it warm next week, but it will be better than it has been for the past several days. With this cold air, though, like we said, we are keeping our 10 TV Weather Impact Alert days in place each morning through Sunday morning. Sub-zero morning temperatures and certainly sub-zero morning wind chills will continue to be a factor. Remember to dress in layers and keep yourself protected from this frigid cold air, especially if you have to be outside for any kind of extended period of time. They've done a lot of school delays, school cancellations this week because they don't want people out in these frigid conditions. And if you can avoid being outside, it is certainly best to do so. Here's a look at the cold weather alerts as we head toward tonight and into early Saturday. The extreme cold warnings are back. They go up to Kenton, down through Delaware, Columbus, out to Newark, Lancaster, down to Chillicothe, and back toward the west. Everyone not under an extreme cold warning is under a cold weather advisory as we head through this evening and into early Saturday. So make sure you are prepared again for that bitter cold air heading our way. If there's been any positive this week, it's been that we haven't really seen much snow activity after we got past the big snowstorm last weekend. Of course, we were having to dig out all week from that snow, so adding to it would have just been another headache. That pattern of quiet weather should continue as we head into the weekend. We've got some sunshine outside across Central Ohio right now. Some more cloud cover back to the northwest. We'll see some of that pass through as we head through this evening and into tonight. But the good news is, if you've been hearing about a major weather system or a big storm coming this weekend, there is one. It's just not going to be for us. We're watching toward the south as a low pressure is going to track its way through the south and eventually work its way on up toward the east coast. That will eventually turn in toward a nor'easter and could provide impacts to the northeastern part of the country. If we get anything from it, it's really just going to be some cloud cover that might spin its way back into Central Ohio. Outside of that, we're not expecting anything, so don't expect a winter storm or snow or any of that kind of activity as we head through this weekend. Our forecast should stay quiet, just kind of on the cold side. Speaking of cold, winds out there not helping conditions. Winds out there right now coming in from the northeast around 5 to 15 miles per hour. These winds will stay pretty consistent through this evening, backing down some as we head through tonight, but will always be around to some degree, so the wind chill's never going to completely go away. Speaking of which, right now you factor in the wind. The 16-degree temperature in Columbus feels more like 2, feels like 7 in Delaware, 7 in Circleville, 7 in London. Cutting in half that 20 degrees down in Chillicothe. Feels like 10 degrees for you guys and 5 what it feels like right now in Washington Courthouse. These temperatures may gain another degree or two between now and about 4 or 5 o'clock tonight. After that point, it's all back downhill and we are heading well below zero once again as we head toward tonight. We'll push our way down from the upper teens today all the way back down to near zero by midnight. And then as soon as we cross that midnight line, we're going to plunge below the zero mark. We're not going to see a ton of cloud cover tonight. That'll help temperatures fall. It is just going to be a cold one once again. We're thinking down to at least -6 here in Columbus, but we could probably even get a little colder than that. I certainly think our outline outlying communities will get colder than that. That's part of the reason we have that extreme cold warning in place again. And of course, wind chill, the other factor to that. Take a look at this. Once we get past sundown tonight, our wind chills quickly go back into the sub-zero range. Heading past midnight, we could be down in that negative 20 to negative 25 region again. That's kind of the area where we've been getting those extreme cold warnings this past week. We're heading right back there for tomorrow morning. No surprise that we are seeing those extreme cold warnings issued once again. As far as the lows go, air temperature -6 is our forecast for us here in Columbus as we head toward tomorrow morning. Certainly outside the city, I think we're going to get even colder than that. We will be up to around 2 degrees by Sunday morning. Wind chills still likely to be pretty far below zero. So we're going to keep the weather impact alert for that morning, but we see a warming trend after that as we head toward next week. We make it up to 20 by Tuesday morning, 18 by Wednesday morning, still in the double digits out there Thursday, but after a small chance for some wintry weather comes through, our air temperatures drop just a little bit, and it looks like we're back up to around 20 in the morning by next Friday. Certainly not the bitter Arctic blast that we got after the last bit of wintry weather, so that is definitely a forecast improvement. Of course, we continue to talk about the weather impact alerts, that bitter cold air through Sunday morning out there. Negative air temperatures, wind chills even colder. And of course, we're still dealing with patchy, icy spots out there, especially off the main roads. So continue to use caution as this winter weather stays firmly set in place. Let's talk about snow and if we could see any more. Good news is weekend not looking like it. We're keeping our snow chances down to 0% both Saturday and Sunday. As we head into early next week, we got a small chance it starts to creep in. Some isolated to scattered light snowfall could be possible either day, but we're not expecting major impacts. Tuesday into Wednesday, that's going to be our best chance for some snow showers. Right now, it's a little too early to decide if this is going to be more of an accumulating snowfall or more of just kind of a glancing blow. Could kind of go either way at the moment, but right now we're hedging toward the lower end impact, but we will keep a close eye on how that changes as we work our way through the weekend and into next week. And then once we get past Wednesday, it's back to just minor threats for small chances at snow. Let's go hour by hour as we head into the weekend. A few clouds out there this evening as we work our way into tonight, but nothing substantial. That lack of cloud cover lets those temperatures again fall pretty far as we head through tonight and into the day Saturday. That's when we get down to that -6 morning low temperature. Heading throughout the day Saturday, we'll see a mix of sun and clouds across the region. I think the model's overdoing the amount of cloud cover. I don't think we're going to be overcast as we head through the day tomorrow. There will be some sunshine poking through those clouds. Working our way through Saturday night into Sunday, same idea. Again, I think the model's overdoing our cloud cover. We'll see more sunshine out there. And then Sunday itself, we should see mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies. Nice quiet weather through the weekend. Let's go to next week. This is Tuesday as we get ready for that next chance of potential snow. System pushing through the region into Wednesday with more development as it pushes off toward the east. This model is bringing it here a little bit earlier, more toward the Tuesday side. Some of the other ones are bringing it more toward the Wednesday side. Like I said, it's still a little bit too early to pin this one down, but overall at the moment, a lot of the snow in this model does miss us here in Ohio. This is something we're going to be keeping a close eye on again as we head through tonight and through the weekend. So we will update this forecast as we get closer to next week, and we'll pin down just exactly when and how much snow we could see as we get toward next Tuesday and Wednesday. Speaking of which, here's your 10 weather impact 7-day forecast. High temperature today around that 19 mark. Later this afternoon, we get down to -6 tomorrow morning and 2 Sunday morning. We will keep those 10 TV weather impact alert days in place for both those days. That 6-degree temperature, if we get there, that would tie a record from 2004. That would be -6. And again, we'll keep a close eye to see if that record falls or if we do tie it heading toward this weekend. After we get past that, warming trend. We get up to 20 Sunday afternoon, up to 26 as we head into Monday, 28 by Tuesday, and even 30 by Wednesday. But again, after that small winter system comes through, we get another kind of reinforcing push of cold air. Temperature down to 11 by Thursday morning, and then we are back to just the mid-20s by the time we head toward Thursday afternoon. So overall, while we get some reprieve, we're not totally out of the woods yet when it comes to this winter forecast. cold conditions will continue, and of course 2 more weather impact alert days for that bitter cold heading into this weekend, both Saturday and for Sunday morning. Speaking of the cold, City of Columbus, they've been dealing with plenty of impacts, including multiple water main breaks around town. They are turning streets into sheets of ice, and residents who live in those areas are fed up. Columbus Water and Power says it's handling about 55 water main breaks right now. 10 TV's Carly Dion shows a street in German Village where the cars stuck in ice so thick that even the tow trucks aren't helping them out.
This area right here has been a nightmare.
A frustrating time for residents across the city of Columbus, as some are dealing with water main or line breaks turning into icy and dangerous road conditions due to days of below freezing temperatures. But here in German Village, it seems a more unique situation is happening.
This water leak has been going on for at least 4 weeks.
Michael Rourke lives in the neighborhood. He says he's made numerous calls to the city about it.
At least a dozen times, if not more. And they've responded, come out and looked at it. They even dug a hole back here, but they've never stopped the water.
Standing here on Brust Street, it's hard to tell just how thick this ice is, but if you stand along East Sycamore Street, you can see it's much thicker than meets the eye.
It's spilling into our neighbors below their basement, but getting their sump pump, so all of a sudden you'll start having a geyser of water come out, and then it'll flow for 15 minutes of just rapid water, so it just keeps building back up.
According to the City of Columbus, crews repaired a leak in the area last week, but there is still water and ice accumulating. Crews then tested that water, and there is currently no indication the water that's still leaking is coming from a city water line leak. Crews from the Department of Public Service could be seen working to break up and remove the ice on East Sycamore. But Brust remains a slippery situation.
But I was trying to shovel the snow, and I stepped back onto the ice, and boom, landed up on my back. Now, I was fine, but I've also seen some people trying to walk and didn't realize how slippery it was. And they've been, I can't tell you how many people have probably fallen.
Not to mention those whose cars have been stuck for days.
It was kind of a trap for these poor people that drove their car in it, and then once they were in it, they were stuck.
It's even turned into a situation towing companies won't go near.
I have no idea if those cars, whether they're going to be drivable when they finally get them out of the ice or not, and what they have to do to try to get them out of the ice. It's going to be a mess. As
the city works to remove the ice, it's unclear at this point how or when the leaking water will be stopped.
And I've been through a lot of winters in Columbus, and this is a good one right here.
In German Village, Carly Dion, 10 TV News.
As mentioned there, the city says crews are actively working to fix waterline breaks. Here's what 10 TV's Kevin Landers asked Columbus Mayor Andrew Ginther on Wednesday about those repairs.
What's your promise to the residents who live on South Highland Avenue, Neshoba Avenue, Mount Pleasant Avenue, about when the city is going to be able to fix these water leaks, and how big of a problem is this for the city?
It is going to be a challenge. But it is on our radar. We are actively working on those. But I think, unfortunately, we're going to see more water main breaks just based on the temperatures.
Speaking of cold weather, scientists say there's some good news up in the Arctic. Even as ice melts and the climate changes in one region, polar bears are thriving and finding new ways to survive. CBS's Tina Kraus has that story.
Even as ice shrinks around them, researchers say these Arctic giants are growing stronger, with polar bears in some areas packing on the pounds.
A fat bear is the healthy bear.
John Ors has been tracking polar bears on Norway's Arctic islands of Svalbard for more than 20 years. He led a team of researchers who weighed and measured nearly 800 bears between 1992 and 2019 and found them in good shape, able to raise cubs and survive.
How surprised were you with the findings?
I was quite surprised because we have lost so much sea ice only since I started,
Scientists think smaller patches of ice may help bears hunt seals more efficiently, since the prey are concentrated in condensed areas. But the study found melting ice is also pushing polar bears to get creative on land, and they're feasting on other prey like reindeer and walruses.
So some of them would be on land as much as 90% of the time now, which is a lot.
While more research is needed to understand how polar bears in other parts of the Arctic are adapting to a warming climate, these animals animals in Norway's Svalbard region are proving that sometimes survival isn't just about staying afloat, it's about gaining ground. Tina Kraus, CBS News, London.
Scientists say this boost for Svalbard's bears could be temporary and warn that continued ice loss may eventually turn those gains around. Speaking of some cold weather here closer to home, a small dog survived on its own outside in a snowstorm and in freezing temperatures. This is 7-pound Chihuahua Trixie. She's back safely at home after 3 days in tough conditions in Summit, New Jersey. A woman who was dog sitting for a friend discovered the 2-year-old dog had darted out of the house earlier in the week. A good ending came to that story, though, when a Good Samaritan found Trixie at a busy intersection. She was 1.5 miles away from her home. And speaking of the cold, it's not just here in Ohio. It's pretty much everywhere across the country right now, including in the South and other parts of the world. Sea turtles, they're also feeling the effects of the cold. If water temperatures drop too low, it can actually stun the turtles, and then they're at risk of drowning. Wildlife officials have launched extensive rescue operations in Corpus Christi. Staff from the Texas State Aquarium have managed to rescue more than 300 cold-stunned sea turtles in just the last 4 days. And one more animal story here. They're dressed to the nines, not just 9 degrees. 20 penguins make the Long Island Aquarium their home, and they are staying inside until it warms up. They are endangered South African penguins, and when temperatures plunge below 30 degrees, their waterproof feathers aren't built for Arctic air.
Doesn't matter what the weather is, snowstorms, hurricanes, anything, staff is going to be here.
The zoo has a giant generator to keep each habitat's temperature controlled through the winter. The penguins will be back outside when the weather suits them. And finally today, let's check out a couple more pieces of video here at 10 TV. Heavy snowfall covered the streets of northern Japan on Friday. Snowfall in the Amori reached up to 65 inches, according to Japan's meteorological agency, a record accumulation for January since 1945. Local residents armed with shovels and sleds cleared the snow from their cars as well as across the roads. Japanese meteorological agency advisors for the area said the heavy snow warning out there was issued. There was fear of damage and traffic disruption. Snowfall expected to intensify over parts of the country as winter conditions continue. And here's a look at time-lapse video from Alaska, captured the night sky over Fairbanks as it lit up with northern lights just over a week ago. A burst of solar energy allowed for the aurora to be visible only in Alaska, well, not only in Alaska, but over much of the United States as well. The video is taken from the northern Point Cottage with streaks of green and purple putting on a stunning display. Recent aurora activity is being linked to the sun being at the peak of its 11-year solar cycle, known as a solar maximum, when solar activity intensifies and offers more frequent auroral displays. Beautiful picture there. Of course, I've seen that a couple times here in Ohio over the past year. Maybe we'll get some more chances to see it again. But I hope when it comes back, our temperatures have finally started to warm up from this bitter cold Arctic air. We've been talking just about how cold things have been all week long, and it is winter, but this is even cold for this time of the year. Our average low should be right around 20 degrees, and our average highs haven't even made it that far. So if we can get back to near normal heading into next week, we are on the right path, but of course we'll keep a close eye on that and that potential for another round of snow as we head into next week as well. I'll be back later tonight at 4, 5, and 6, and then again at 11 to get you up to date with the latest. Till then, you can find more news and weather coverage online, 10tv.com. Have a great afternoon.